Today we're going to talk about graphics in R. And the graphics, that's something that I'm particularly interested in. And I usually say that everything is possible in R, and at least almost everything is possible. And if you compare the graphics capabilities to those of, for example, the Office package Excel, for example, there you can get quite nice graphics with a rather small effort. But if there are any details that you really want to control perfectly, then you often find that you can't do it quite the way you want to, and the graphical interface with drag and drop and you drag pieces around is usually rather frustrating if you want to fine-tune the dimensions of sorts. And in R, on the other hand, anything is possible, but it's often rather complicated, as most things in R are. And when it comes to graphics, it's conceptually rather easy, I would say. There's not much to understand, but you rather have quite a lot of arguments and commands to deal with, and that can be rather overwhelming, although we'll give it a try today. And there are, of course, a lot of graphical packages available in R, but since this course is focusing on the base package, we are trying as far as possible to use commands available in the base package, although we will use a few commands from other packages as well when we have to. But if you're interested in using other packages, you may want to look at the three I mentioned here at the bottom: Lattice, ggplot, and Shiny. Those are very commonly used and popular graphical packages. And ggplot, for example, it sort of turns the syntax around in a way. It doesn't quite behave the way you're used to in R, I think, and therefore we thought it better to leave it out of this course, but it's very popular, and a lot of users use this instead of the commands in the base package. And Shiny is used to get a graphical interface on top of R, so to say, for example, in a web page, so that you can actually enable users with very limited knowledge of R to still get information out of it, graphics, for example, and to adjust this according to their needs. Selected data, for example, and ranges and such. The most simple command in the area of graphics in R is plot, and you use plot a lot. The plot is really a lot of functions, and what of this large amounts of plot functions that R uses when you write plot depends on the class of the object you're trying to plot. If you, for example, plot a vector, then this is interpreted as a scatter plot, and on the x-axis you just have 1, 2, 3, 4 till the number of observations you have in your vector, the length of the vector. And if you plot two vectors, plot vector, comma vector, then you get a traditional scatter plot, and the first vector contains the x values and the second vector contains the y values. And if you try to plot a factor instead, then you get a bar plot. And I'll show this later on, all these, but that's what you get. And R actually calculates the number of occasions on each level of the factor, and then draws a bar plot showing how many there are of each kind. And if you plot a user-defined function, then you actually get the curve defined by the function. And that's a rather powerful feature, because if you, for example, try to plot a function in Excel, then you would have to calculate a lot of y values and then plot them. But in this case, you can draw the actual function without faking any data.